Hello everyone and welcome. You can see by what I've got in front of me, I usually do this when I'm playing with a very new paper packet. There is a brand new catalogue launching on April 1st. This will run from April through to June. You can see from the front cover here, there's some great masculine or outdoor type feel papers. But what I wanted to show you from this catalogue today is the very first collection here, called Cosette. So this is a bit of a sneak peek, and I'll put all the links below, but you won't be able to order these until the 1st of April. But this is the first collection that I've played with. I've designed 8 layouts, so that's 4 double page spreads, and I've really enjoyed playing with this vintage style type paper. It's got a bit of a decoupage look to it with the papers here. You can see that I've also bought the Picture My Life cards, and the digital collection's lovely as well. This stamp set is part of the collection, and I've got that here. So to see sort of real size, you can tell when you look at the catalogue, pretty much you get the real size of what the stamp sets are, unless it's listed here that it's shown at a percentage of the real size. I absolutely love the floral elements. It goes so well with the vintage type look. And then of course it comes with a thin cut set. Now I'm going to be doing something very soon for the Twisted Sisters hop, and I'm doing a bit of a twist on this set as well, so I can't wait to show you what I'm doing with that. And it doesn't just come with the dies for the floral elements. You can see it's got this arch type one that you can do as a window, or in this case a piece to go directly on top of a card. And in this one here, they've used this oval to create a window as well. But you could look at this and think that was a good Easter egg shape too for scrapbook layout. So it doesn't just have to be for card making, and I've used this several times throughout the layouts that I'm going to share with you. I haven't ordered this one as yet. This is on my list to get. You can get a scrapbooking workshop kit. So what you get with this are bonus elements that you can't order separately. So there are additional die cuts, there are exclusive printed papers. You also get the full collection of the pattern papers with the sticker sheets. You get cardstock as well, so you can create these 3 double page spreads, and you can mix and match it up. You can take things away and extend this out. I've done a few workshop makeovers where I've put that on my YouTube channel. You may have seen them. I'm not actually planning to do a workshop makeover for this, but I am planning on doing it for another collection that's in here. And then we have the Cosette card making workshop kit. Now I'm ordering this, I'm about to put an order in because I really love the dies with this. There's this long rectangle element here that could be used as a string element to finish off these layered bows. So this is a larger bow area, and a smaller one, you can see you can double it up, and you've got the little strings to attach. You can cut this down so that it fits a panel as well. You can put it on an angle like it's done here. I can see all of these elements being used on a scrapbooking layout as well. You could make little Christmas gifts and decorate them with the bows to put along your scrapbooking layout. So don't think of it just for a card making kit, and don't think that it has to go just with these pattern papers as well. And there are these gorgeous stamped elements here. These come as stamp sets. They don't come with dies, but I can see them being used on an art journal style page. So it doesn't just have to be for card making. So usually when I look at the card making workshop kits, I take this sort of apart in some ways and look at it and think of other ways that I can use it, especially how I can adapt it to scrapbooking or art book journaling or something like that, not just for cards. So let's have a quick look at these papers before I get to show you the layouts that I've created. The sticker sheet is gorgeous. It's got these beautiful muted greens, which is like the pine color. I love the stamp stickers. I really do love these florals, and you can extend the use of these. I've actually done that on one of the layouts. I've cut this one apart so that there can be a floral on the right page and a floral on the left. I haven't done it with this sticker in this workshop, but you could do that as well. So you can always look at these sort of elements and work out how you can make a 2 for out of 1 sticker element. Quite often I cut circles in half. There's a gorgeous mug with a spray of flowers. I've used this actually throughout this workshop. I have used every single sticker but one, and that sticker is this little bird here. I just found that I couldn't find the spot I wanted to put him on, so I'm going to put him onto a card that I will make later. The papers are just gorgeous. I think this is my favourite one in the pack. They are double-sided, so you can see that I've flipped them around so that you can see what both sheets look like. So you get 2 of each. So you could use just this side if you wanted to, but I've mixed and matched it up. And you can separate these out by cutting these out with scissors and fussy cutting. You can do the same with this as well if you wanted to. But these for me are just absolutely gorgeous. I do love how close to my heart have created these 2 designs. And then we get into the ones that make it easier to mix and match with these sort of hero type pages. There's this gorgeous leaf design, and it's got a bit of texture to it, a bit of a wash, so that it's not just a harsh outline. So I don't know if you can see that there. There's a bit of brown in there as well, and that creates a gorgeous vintage feel. And the other side of this one is the gorgeous floral, which matches in with this element on this paper and also matches in with this sticker, and then you could match that in as well with one of these floral elements if you wanted to. So there's lots of flexibility within this pack. So let's just put these aside. There's always the zip strips, which you can use as features on your scrapbooking layouts as well. And these are the final 2 sheets, so you can see once again I've flipped these over. This is a gorgeous design, and you could put this on a masculine page if you wanted to, because it's not overly florally, and this is a mulberry sort of tick type stripe, and once again they're not solid outlines. There's distressing throughout the pattern, and also this sort of area is not a harsh line, so it's a beautiful soft accent. The other thing that I love about this, and you're starting to see the first double page spread that I'm going to share with you, are these die cuts. Now I'm going to pull this out of the packet so that you can see, and one's already fallen out here. They're quite easy to remove, but this is like a whole entire sheet that's been printed in like a newsprint type style, and then the die cuts push out so easily. I'm actually going to turn this over so that you can see how many die cuts you get from this one sheet. I could have a whole sheet of ampersand and brackets in this style. I really, really love them. And because this is printed onto like a French vanilla style cardstock, and you can see, I'm hoping you can pick up, there is a little bit of a wash with a darker vintage type brown, and I've put all the butterflies on this one double page spread, and I've layered them up. And if you're a fan of dimension, you can put foam dots or a piece of foam tape under each section of these wings to make these sit up just a little bit more. Here's one of the brackets. You don't have to put a bracket at each end of a title. You can just accent the end of a title, and I've layered up 3 of the patterns here, and I still think that it works really, really well, probably because there's a separation of this darker pine colour between this pattern and this decoupage type paper. I find that that gives a really good separation. I've stamped across the bottom of the French vanilla, so all of the base layers are basically onto French vanilla, which matches this background paper here. I really wanted the pattern papers to be heroes on these layouts, but I also still wanted the photos to be the main focal point. And I've used Espresso, which is not one of the colours on the zip strip. You can see with the zip strips here, they always give the colours. So this is one of the zip strips from this collection, and the featured colours are black, desert rose, French vanilla, honey butter, mist, mulberry, papaya, peach, pine, seabrook, toffee and white daisy. So the brown that they have put in with this to match is toffee, which you can see is highlighted here. This is sort of a toffee type colour, but I've decided to deepen it just a little bit by using espresso. But I still love how the espresso really works well still with the black elements. So the print on these die cuts is black. There are elements of black on the pattern papers, and I've edge distressed the edges of the die cuts with espresso ink. So you can see the stamping that I've got going along here just brings in these floral elements that are in the patterns, and for that I've used second generation stamping throughout, so there are different colours going across on the bottom just to add a little bit more interest across this and bring the 2 layouts in together. So this is layout 1. Just move that aside and we'll move on to the next one. This has more white space happening than the previous layout, but because there are quite a few clusters, I think it's good to have a little bit of white space to give your eye somewhere to rest. When I'm putting stickers on, I usually leave the backing area attached from the carrier sheet so that the photo can slide in, and then I can peel this away later to adhere the remainder of the sticker. And the birds and the hearts are popped up with some foam tape, and you can see here I've used stickers and stamped images to make this cluster. And a bit of a trick for extending your pattern paper, rather than having the whole sheet behind here, I've actually built this mainly on French vanilla. I've torn this area here and rolled it back, and then I've just added the actual pattern paper behind that. So to do this, to make sure this is a nice 12 by 12 piece, you can line it up on your Versamat. But I'm going to bring in my Score Pal now. You've probably seen me use this quite a lot with lining things up to a corner. So these two pieces don't measure 12 inches. So I had two separate pieces that if I'd have tried to put this up against here, I wouldn't have been able to get it totally straight. So what I've done is put my pattern strip down, and then I've run some adhesive along the edges here, and then I've put my other piece down here so that I can get my 12 by 12 all lined up using my Score Pal. So if you've got a scoreboard that measures 12 inches, you don't have to just score with it. You can use it as an alignment tool as well. It really helps to be able to get this square happening exactly how I wanted it to be. I've done some edge distressing on this large mat here, which is the yellow floral, and tearing these little pieces back here and just tucking some little strips behind. You can see that one's a little bit larger. That just brings the pattern on the edges into the layout, so it doesn't look like it's just sitting on the edge here. It actually becomes part of the main feature of the layout as well. So layout 3 that I've done, this is another French vanilla base, but I've paired it with mist, which is actually the colour in this pattern paper. I love mist. It's a bluey grey sort of paper. There's those postage stamp stickers that I love. More stamping just mixed in amongst these clusters as well, and using a little bit of foam tape to pop up certain elements just gives it even more texture. The wood grain here is just gorgeous. That's actually a border strip. I haven't cut that down at all. I've just used the full 1/2 inch width to run across my layout. And you can see this is what I was talking about, extending the circles. So I'll just pull this additional, because of course I've got 2 packs of this. This is the sticker here. So if I'd put that on the page and tucked it under, this part here would have been wasted. So I wanted to replicate that across the double page, and it brings in the mulberry, which is in this strip as well. I actually haven't inked the edges of this one. I decided I had a little bit of a play with this. I decided I wanted to leave these ones a bit free of the brown espresso inking, but I have done it on the French vanilla photo mats. And the final layout for what I've designed for this workshop guide, and I will have a link below for all the details on this workshop guide. And the guide comes with a full cutting guide, and if you follow the cutting guide exactly, you're going to have a piece of paper left over. I'm going to bring it in and I'm going to show you so that you can cut out more elements to make more clusters. This has some edge distressing. It's got a pine background as well. So the edge distressing is with scissors, or if you've got a distress edging tool, you can use that as well. And I've also brought in a couple of little strips just to tie in these pattern papers that run quite heavily across the top here, bringing them into the bottom. So I'm going to bring in this decoupage paper. This is about where the strip is left over to create all of these extra elements. So you can see here, there's that clipboard. Because this is the part here that actually cut all the way down, pretty much straight through, it ended up with these butterflies. I wanted to save these clipboard pieces. But what I wanted to show you in this video, before you cut out these elements here to create all these other little pieces that you see scattered around, you need to flip this over and cut out this clock element here. So you can see that's that element here. I've actually cut some of this greenery off so that it extends. You don't necessarily need to do that, but I've cut around this and the little floral element here, and this part just tucks under because I didn't quite get a whole entire flower left over, so I did just tuck that in underneath this area. And once that's cut out, I then turned my piece of paper over because this bit here has now been fussy cut out, and then I started cutting out all these other elements. So there's half that clipboard there, the other half is on this side, and then I was able to go through and cut out some other elements. And while I was doing that, this part here was left with this little stamped image, these leaves, and this clock. So this is all one element. So if I bring that over, you can actually see this is that part here. So there's the stamp, there are the leaves, but I actually cut this little bird out here to put over there, and this envelope, which is under here, and then I've just cut this part of the clock so that I can then put this section over top so nobody would know that section is missing. So then this piece becomes one element here. Even though there's bits of it that have been cut into, you can't really tell, because once you've cut out all the elements, there's this element here, Love This Life is over here. There's some postcards and script writing here as well. This one's actually from the die sheet, as are these leaves, and there's those little triangles, and this one is a sticker. But you can see all these elements here, cherished memories. I've basically just separated everything. There are 3 letters that you get out of this, or postcards. So this one and this one and this one make up this little cluster here. Cutting this one in half, this covered that little rectangle piece that was cut out. So you've got the Eiffel Tower here, but I didn't want to waste this part, so that is tucked in. Let me see if I can find it. That's tucked in under here. So all these little pieces, once you start separating them out, they all become part of these clusters. And I've put some close-up photos so that you can see which elements go where, especially for this page. Now, once I had cut those little pieces up, I had some little scrap areas that I hadn't used. So I turned this over, and then I separated out some of the little blue florals and also the mulberry flowers as well. So they worked in quite well because I had this floral sticker too to tuck in. There's my little bracket. It doesn't have to be at the end of a title. I've just put that there to form its own little cluster coming out from the edge of this photo. And my favourite thing, the ampersand and the bracket on this double page spread. Now this layout doesn't have a title as such. It's got a lot of words on here, so this would form the title. I quite like having these little strips on there. Don't necessarily need to put a title on, but if you had a title that you wanted to put on, you could either stamp it along here or use some die cuts, some alphabet die cuts to put one on, or you could put it across here as well. It would work quite well. I've got a journaling spot here for this. So I'm just going to bring the layouts in again. So if you wanted to enhance this, I think liquid pearls would work quite well. I actually thought of this after I'd taken all the photos and written everything up, but I wanted to show you what I did to give you an idea of what colours would work. I do this quite often. This is on a piece of French vanilla, just a strip. So you can see I've got a few here. This is a bisque. I think this would work quite well. It was a colour that CTMH used to carry, and you can see I can just hold that up against the elements and it brings out the yellow of this floral element. The white opal actually looks really nice as well. You could use that. It gives a lovely sheen to it, and I think that works well. The pinks, the ballerina and the blue were a bit too strong. They don't look too bad when you put them up against these elements, but I don't think I would use these ones personally. The ballerina actually looks quite nice against this mulberry type colour, but I think what I'm going to do is use some rose gold because that ties in beautifully and it gives a lovely vintage feel. So you can see that works quite well with these, although I am still leaning towards bisque. So let me know in the comments below which one you think would work better with these layouts. I'm going to tear these pieces off. so that you can see them side by side on the pages. The rose gold is gorgeous, it's vintage, but the bisque works as well. So you can go through and you can decide just by looking at your layouts which one you think suits best. If you wanted to sprinkle some of those around, you could actually put some in the center of these florals. These have been stamped with espresso ink because I just wanted it a little bit softer, and I decided I didn't want to color them because there is enough color going on with all the sticker elements. So rose gold or bisque, I'd love to know what you think about which one would work the best. I can't wait to share with you all the rest of the gorgeous things within this catalogue. I really love it. Here's Hey Handsome. I'm just going to quickly show you the two other paper collections. This I think is absolutely gorgeous. I've got this to play with as well, of course. I couldn't resist it. This digital art collection I've got. I love the tools, and these, I love my boys, World's Greatest Dad. There's 2 cards and a layout for this one. And then there is a red, white and blue called Hello Darlin', and I just love these patterns too, and I can't wait to play with these and bring in these embellishments. There's a lot of good stuff in this catalogue with the paper collections. I really think that this might be my favourite, although after playing with Cosette, I really love this too. So I hope you enjoyed my flip through of the layouts that I've designed. Thank you so much for watching. Happy crafting, and bye for now.